We are 1 week into Saints training camp and we already have a sleeper wide receiver starting to emerge for the team as we approach the preseason and the regular season in only just a few weeks. Wide receiver was a big concern for many fans, including myself this offseason. Going into the draft and free agency, needing a big-bodied wide receiver and pass catcher, it felt like something the team should have addressed. But they didn't. They did not go that route. They didn't address wide receiver. But there's a guy making plays right now almost every day in camp for the Saints. And he doesn't necessarily fit the mold of a big body wide receiver, but he could provide some talent and depth to a room that desperately needs it. And I'm talking about Mason Tipton. But we have to tread carefully here because we are in this exact same situation just last year. And we're going to be breaking that all down in today's video. I'm Cash, and you should take 5 seconds to like the video and subscribe. Help support the channel. We're trying to reach 15,000 subscribers. We're almost at 13,000. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate all the support. And you keep supporting me, helping the channel grow, and I'll keep posting Saints and NFL content like this, especially with the season coming up. I think you should definitely do it. It's a win-win situation. And with all that being said, let's dive into it. One week into Saints training camp and we have a wide receiver emerging to the top of the depth chart, or at least the top of the depth chart outside of the top 3 guys in Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and Brandon Cooks, but just below them as the number 4 guy in the wide receiver room, and I'm talking about Mason Tipton, the second-year wide receiver out of Yale, who went undrafted last year, made the team as an undrafted guy, and he's starting to stand out in training camp right now in his second season. And it's only been 8 days, basically 1 week since training camp has begun, but Mason Tipton is almost making a play every single day. Going back to the first day of training camp, he was Spencer Rattler's first completion during 11 on 11 drills. Spencer Rattler has been going first in the rotation at QB today, first day of training camp, July 23rd, and completed his first pass during team drills to Mason Tipton. This is the first time that they did team drills ever, at least under Kellen Moore. They didn't do it during OTAs or minicamp. So this was their first live reps, and Mason Tipton was working with the first team offense at the start of training camp, and you have to assume 1 week in, he's going to be staying with the first team offense. That was just the start of Mason Tipton's camp. We then saw him and Spencer Rattler, who's in a quarterback competition, start showcasing their chemistry and their connection, which carried over from last year's training camp. Spencer Rattler hit him on a deep bomb, as you see on your screen, downfield. He hit Quincy Riley, the rookie cornerback, with a double move, beat him downfield, and it was a really nice connection with the big bomb between the quarterback and the wide receiver, a really nice connection. They had a really good connection on an outbreaking route, really good timing. Spencer Rattler threw the ball before Mason Tipton even broke out of his break in his route, and the ball was in the air, and Mason Tipton went out to make a play, and he was just having an outstanding day. I believe this was like the 3rd day of camp, 4th day of camp. Mason Tipton was really starting to stand out. And it isn't just a Spencer Rattler, Mason Tipton thing carrying over their chemistry and connection from last training camp, and it carried over. No, he's making plays with Jake Haener throwing him the football. He had a really nice connection with Jake Haener about a week ago on like an outbreaking route. Haener found him in some tight coverage, heavy traffic. They made a really nice play. Him and Tyler Shuck are getting some reps in. They're getting some work done. They're building a connection and chemistry. And Mason Tipton is being reliable and making plays for him. It's not just a one quarterback thing. He is being reliable and making plays for all 3 of these quarterbacks. And that, I think, says a lot. Saints head coach Kellen Moore was asked about Mason Tipton just a few days into training camp, and he called the wide receiver a really reliable player, which in my opinion is a really good trait to have, especially for a young quarterback room that's competing. A lot of inexperience there. I know Mason Tipton has a lot of inexperience as well, but if he could be reliable for a young quarterback room, then that is one step forward, and that makes the quarterback's job easier, especially for this team right now and where they're headed.
Mason Tipton.
Sorry, Silly.
Mason Tipton.
Yeah. He's an excellent player. I love his work ethic. I love the detail that he plays with. He's done an excellent job out there today. You know, he certainly had a couple opportunities. He took advantage of it. So he's been really, really reliable.
You know, we're going to
Mason Tipton and just how he's performed.
Yeah. Mason makes plays. He pops up, and no matter how the script plays out, what position, the ball just gravitates to him. And so, again, he's just continuing to take advantage of opportunities, and more will come because of that.
Now, Mason Tipton is a speedier guy. He's not built like a big physical guy, which we do feel like this team is missing. Obviously, Chris Olave, really good route runner, smaller guy, not a big physical dude, but really talented guy. Rashid Shaheed, same thing, big speed. We're starting to see him develop as a wide receiver, expand his role. He's maybe due for a big year, but speedier guy, not a big physical guy, although he did add 10 pounds to his game of muscle so he could be more physical. Brandon Cooks, same thing as Chris Olave. Mason Tipton, another speedy guy. So they got 4 speedy receivers. But despite that, Mason Tipton is still standing out, making plays for the New Orleans Saints. And he had a really physical catch from Spencer Rattler in 7-on-7 drills. He ran like a little corner route towards the sideline, got between the corner and the safety in a zone coverage, took a big hit from Julian Blackman, the newly signed safety, and he held on, and it was a really nice job from him holding onto the football in a physical play. And that's something that stands out, at least for so far during camp. And just recently, he caught this big bomb touchdown from Spencer Rattler in 11-on-11 drills. And this is just an incredible catch and play. But this is just an excellent play from Spencer Rattler. Steps up in the pocket, finds Mason Tipton deep downfield. And when he catches this ball, he is 3 yards away from the nearest defender. 4 or 5 yards from another guy. I don't know who the cornerback, I don't know who the safety is on this play, but this is an excellent throw and catch. I mean, this is an insane catch over the shoulder. This is not an easy catch to do, especially in pads, especially in helmet. It's hard to track it. You don't see as much. This is an excellent catch from Mason Tipton, and also excellent throw from Spencer Rattler. Just an overall great job on this connection right here. One of my favorite plays from camp so far. And in the most recent practice, Mason Tipton caught another 2 touchdowns just recently on Thursday. He caught one on a slant pass from Tyler Shuck, the rookie, who had a pretty rough practice on Thursday. Threw 2 interceptions, led a really bad 2-minute drill drive, and during that time period, so he looked really rough, didn't have a great day, but his best moment came on a touchdown pass to Mason Tipton. So even on bad days for the quarterbacks, their best day or their best moments come throwing to Mason Tipton. And then during Jake Hayner's 2-minute offense and drill, his session and his drive, Jake Hayner got the team down to the 1-yard line. No time on the clock. It was like a penalty play, 0 seconds left, 1-yard line, 1 play. And he found Mason Tipton on a touchdown on a rollout play. I'm assuming it's kind of that typical rollout and the receiver runs an out route type of play. Mason Tipton caught the game-winning touchdown during the team drills, the situational drills, situational awareness kind of thing. That also stands out. Big moment, not only for Jake Hayner, but Mason Tipton, who definitely leads the team in touchdown catches in camp so far. He's probably got to have like 4 or 5 touchdown catches at the moment, if I had to guess. The dude is standing out and making a lot of plays and emerging as a big piece to this offense if he can keep it up. But the reason I say if he can keep it up is because, well, when it comes to Mason Tipton, we need to tread carefully because the camp hype right now feels a little too similar to what we heard and saw about him and from him during last year's training camp. As an undrafted guy last year, he was doing what he's doing now last year during last year's camp. But as a rookie, he was standing out more. As an undrafted guy, he was getting reps with the first team offense and cooking Alontae Taylor in one-on-ones and beating Paulson Adebo and standing out. Him and Spencer Rattler had a huge connection. They're going deep downfield and throwing bombs downfield. They had a really big connection. Mason Tipton, what he's doing now, sounds very similar to what he was doing last year. And that's why we got to tread very carefully. It's okay to get excited about him because I'm excited to watch this guy play. I hope he can keep this up, but we have to manage expectations because we saw what happened in 2024. It felt like he was going to be another big name and be like, oh my gosh, the Saints found yet another undrafted wide receiver. And then he just kind of fizzled away. He got injured in camp. He didn't appear in any preseason games last year, but he made the team for his camp performance, and the Saints felt like he was the guy who they just couldn't cut. But his 2024 season was rather disappointing, and it wasn't due to a lack of opportunity. He had a chance to play. Chris Olave was hurt and out for most of the year. Rashid Shaheed was hurt and out for most of the year. He had an opportunity to showcase what he could do. He had the playing time. He just couldn't get open. Some of you might say he wasn't getting the ball thrown to him. Well, he also wasn't getting open, creating separation, being physical at the line of scrimmage. He's not going to get the ball thrown to him if he can't get open or create a nice little mismatch. So after killing it in camp last year, Mason Tipton, making the roster as an undrafted guy, he only appeared in 11 games and caught 14 passes on 26 targets and had 99 yards. Did not even crack 100 yards. Only 2 catches ended up with the first down. And this guy played a significant amount of snaps. Offensively, he played a total of 358 offensive snaps. That was 51% of the offensive plays, and he still could not crack 100 yards, still could not crack or make any big plays. It just did not work in 2024. Now, something I do find interesting and I do want to keep in mind is that him and Spencer Rattler do have a nice connection. He only had 5 catches for 25 yards weeks 1 through 5 with Derek Carr at quarterback. When Spencer Rattler took over weeks 6 through 8, he had 9 catches for 74 yards. So a lot of his production came when Spencer Rattler was at quarterback. I don't know if he got to play with Jay Kaner, but their chemistry has always been solid. We're seeing it in camp this year. We saw it in camp last year. We saw it during the games a little bit last season. But if he wants to really be a contributor to this team, he has to keep on doing what he's doing in camp right now, but translate that into the games. I think one of the biggest moments and failures last year for Mason Tipton was the dropped pass he had from Derek Carr in that Monday Night Football game versus the Kansas City Chiefs, where Derek Carr got hurt. The pass was a really good one, went right through his chest, and it's very similar, actually, if you look at it. The pass he dropped there was very similar to the catch he made in practice from Spencer Rattler. Almost identical, over the shoulder, going downfield, diving. Throw is very similar. So hopefully he's growing and can learn from these experiences, learn from these mistakes, and he can translate his practice into an NFL game. So we do got to tread carefully, but Luke Johnson says that the camp stars Mason Tipton is a thing yet again. He's got to see it in the game action like we've been saying this whole video. But right now, this doesn't feel like an accident. It doesn't feel like he's another camp star. Maybe he is, just like last year, but he's showing real speed. He's a camp MVP, camp star yet again, and it doesn't feel like an accident. Some of this stuff, just maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's not, but it's definitely very interesting. If Mason Tipton can emerge and have real contributions to this team, that would be huge for the Saints, not only as just a good player, but for the wide receiver room in general, which lacks a lot of depth and talent overall. Looking at the Saints wide receiver room, Rashid Shaheed, good player. Cedric Wilson, I'd say he's not set to make the team. Chris Tyree, undrafted guy, not set to make the team. There's Tipton, Dante Pettis. I think he's going to make the team as of right now. Peoples-Jones, nothing. Chris Olave making the team. Bub Means, I don't think he's a guarantee to make the team. Moochie Dixon, not guaranteed. Undrafted guy making the team. Kevin Austin's been standing out, but I don't know if he makes the team. So right now we probably have 4 guys guaranteed to make the team right now at wide receiver. Mason Tipton is definitely up there as one of the few guys who are set to make the team. If I had to pick and choose who is in this wide receiver room when it comes to roster cuts, it's Chris Olave. Where is he at? It's Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, it's Brandon Cooks, and then number 4 is probably Mason Tipton if I had to guess, with like Cedric Wilson or Dante Pettis right behind him. But Mason Tipton is probably the number 4 guy on this team right now at wide receiver. And that could be either a really good thing or a really bad thing, but we won't know until we see them play football games, which is actually coming up relatively soon. They have a game about in just a week, August 10th, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. We'll have our first preseason game. Hopefully Tipton is playing in that one, and hopefully he shines and showcases that this is not a fluke in camp. If he can take advantage of this opportunity and prove that he deserves to be on this team, the Saints may have found a hidden gem and a sleeper in their wide receiver room. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Let me know what you make of Mason Tipton. Is this a fluke, or is he actually gonna step it up this year? Real quick, tomorrow is Saturday. I'm going to do my best to get out a video regarding training camp, but I might not be able to due to pre-made obligations. I have personal stuff going on, so I'm going to try to get a video out before I go and attend that, but if I can't, now you know why. I'm going to be gone. I have other obligations, more important obligations, so, but there's just a little heads up there. Make sure to help support the channel, like the video, subscribe. I'm Cash, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good one.